New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. All right, so this is a little bit of a different video. I wanted to do this video because I ran past some videos on social media where women were stating that they don't need fathers, they don't need men, children, don't need them at all, and that they can 100% do it all by themselves. So I'm going to read off an article, and then I'm also going to read off some stats. And hopefully from there we can maybe start a conversation in the comment section about this topic and see what other people think about this as well.
This is just a reminder for men that scientists have now discovered a way for women to impregnate themselves using their own bone marrow, and the only child that can result from those pregnancies are female. So we no longer have any need for you genetically or physically. So, tread lightly.
All right, let's just go through this article, and it is titled, What We're Really Saying When We Say a Child Needs a Father Figure. Number one, it reinforces a gender binary. If gender is a spectrum, why does it matter who parents? Demanding that single mothers report who the father is assumes that they are only two roles possible when parenting, the father and the mother, the man and the woman. What are we saying about gender essentialism when we insist upon this framework? That's just because a child is assigned boy at birth, he needs someone who is assigned the same to raise him. As progressive parents, how can we challenge the gender binary and simultaneously insist on this myth? If we know that gender is a spectrum, then why do we allow ourselves to consistently revert to binary understandings of who ought to be parents to a child? Number two, it completely invalidates gay and lesbian parents. As a gay and lesbian adoption and parenting becomes more mainstream, it's important to acknowledge that many families consist of two parents of the same biological sex and or gender identity. Asking the question, where's the dad, suggests that a dad must always be present in a child's life when this is simply untrue. By extension, the obsessive focus on traditional family unit also means that we should be applied and judgmental when there is no mom present. What about gay and lesbian parents? Are they not valid parents? We can't consider ourselves champions of gay marriage and supporters of gay adoption and parenting if our language on the topic of fatherhood revolves around the notion that a man must always be present in a parental unit. Number three, it puts certain parents in a box, limiting them to parenting behaviors that is appropriate for their gender. As a single mom to a boy, I frequently hear the stereotypes that boys need fathers to play rough with them. We are insinuating that a mom can't play rough. Personally, I have observed some interactions between dads and their sons playing rough that looked more like unpacking fine china wrapped in tissue paper to me. On the contrary, my son and I play rough that I refuse to do so with him in public or in mixed company. Lest someone get the wrong idea and call CPS. I take pride in my ability to give him that physical outlet to play rough, and I find it downright insulting when someone suggests that my kid would need a man to give him that or implies that my son must be missing out on playing rough because he doesn't have a dad. Number four, it further entrenches patriarchy by making the man more powerful. It shocks me to hear how many heterosexual married women I hear say that their boys listen better to their dads. It stuns me how many times I've heard a heterosexual married woman threaten her son who is not listening with, "I'll tell daddy." What are we saying about who is the authority to be respected and taken seriously? We're teaching our children that men, aka daddy, are more powerful, strong, and authoritative and deserve more respect. Mommy is a pushover, in other words. That which is feminine is weak and not to be taken seriously. The "I'll tell daddy" phenomenon needs to stop. Whether we are single moms or moms married to a great co-parenting man, it's important that our boys listen to us, not just to daddy. Furthermore, by insinuating that a child will end up on the streets because they lack a father, we are demanding female parents and suggesting that they are simply too weak and too unintelligent to seriously discipline and rear their children. I'll never be able to use "I'll tell daddy" as a threat. Why? Well, there's obvious reasons that my son doesn't have a daddy, but the reason is that I know how deeply problematic the gendered language is. I know that I'm not doing my son any favors by teaching him he doesn't have to listen unless he's told by a man, and that he can't grow up to be a beautiful person without a man as a role model just because he was assigned male at birth, because he can and he will. Single moms, carry on. Other home statistics. 37.8% of single mothers are divorced, 41% never married, and 6.5% are widows. That was stated by the Brookings Institute, assessing the impact of welfare reform on single mothers. In 1996, 70% of inmates in the State Juvenile Detention Center served long sentences were raised by single mothers. 72% of juvenile murders and 60% of the R word came from single mother homes. Growing up without a father could permanently alter the structure of the brain and produce more children who are more aggressive and angry. Children brought up by only a single mother have a higher risk of developing deviant behavior, including drug abuse. Single parents make up a third of Wisconsin's parents, the Annie E. Casey Foundation reports. And according to a 2009 report from the U.S. Census Bureau, there are approximately 13.7 million single parents across the United States, with single mothers outpacing single fathers 5-1. 2/3 of all children murdered are murdered by their mother. The source is by the United States Department of H&HS website Child Abuse Statistics by Relationship that was published March of 2013. Girls raised without fathers are more sexually promiscuous and more likely to end up divorced. 70% of teen births occur to girls in single mother homes. 86% of American teen births are out of wedlock. America has more than twice as many teenage births as other developed nations. There are more than 400,000 teen births annually in the United States, most of them to unmarried mothers on welfare. The public cost of births to teens 17 and younger is estimated to be approximately $7.6 billion per year. The children are more likely to be in foster care, less likely to graduate from school, and daughters are more likely to have teen births themselves, and sons are more likely to be incarcerated. 70% of dropouts and 70% of teen suicides come from single mother homes. 70% of runaways, 70% of juvenile delinquents, and 70% of child murders comes from single mother homes. Effects of fatherlessness. 63% of all youth suicides, 70% of all teen pregnancies, 71% of all adolescent chemical/substance abusers, 80% of all prison inmates, and 90% of all homeless and runaway children come from single mother homes. Children brought up in single mother homes are 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, 14 times more likely to commit the R word, 20 times more likely to end up in prison, 32 times more likely to run away from home. So the main thing that I'm just saying here is that fathers are important. I'm not sure what's happening on social media or what a lot of these social media influencers, the women social media influencers, are basically stating, and why they're stating it. Maybe they're scorned, maybe they're hurt, maybe they're jaded. A variety of interactions that they may have had with men or their own fathers, or their the father of their children. Maybe they've had just those types of like negative interactions their whole lives, right? Which leads them to be on that type of wave where they just want to see men as something detrimental, as something negative, as something that they don't really need at all, something that is not necessary in order to go throughout life or to raise a family, and different things like that. All I'm sitting up here saying is, coming from a man that was raised in a single parent home, a lot of those statistics, I ended up, just blowing past. Still to this date, never had a lick of alcohol, never done any type of drugs, never been in jail, prison, never had a sentence, don't have any type of warrants, never been in any type of gang shootouts. So a lot of those statistics I, managed to escape. Now, the thing that I will state, right, is the main thing that helped me out is, yes, I did have my mom. She was there. She was consistently in my life, and she made sure that I was on a good path. But the other thing that my mom made sure to do is that she made sure to place positive black male role models directly in my line of sight so that I would have options to see different routes that I could potentially take if I wanted to take it. So, you had doctors out there, you had a mayor out there, you had a police chief directly out there, right? You had a teacher, you had a professor out there, you had my guy Rob, who designed for I think it was either Ford or GM, had my brother Chris, his father, who worked at the Ford power plant. Like I said, I had a variety of different options in different ways that I could have went education wise if I wanted to, because those were the choices laid out directly in front of me, because I was able to see them. I saw black men, people who look like men who look like me growing up, and that was inspirational, right? So for a lot of the women out here that say that black men or just men in general aren't needed, that's a fabrication. That is complete and grand total BS, because like I said, I, coming from a single parent household, I can let you know how important it was for me to see my own reflection out there. Like I said before, I love my mom to death. I appreciate every single thing that she did for me, and I can tell you, one of the most honest things that she has ever stated to me was that she was like, "Yo, I can do everything that I can do, but the one thing that I cannot do is be both. God made me a woman. I can only live and work within those bounds. I cannot work within the bounds or the realm of a man, because I did not grow up as a man and I was not made to be a man." So, like I said before, she did everything that she could. She did the best that she could. And whatever she could not, basically give to me, she basically presented black men in front of me, positive black role models that can fill in those gaps. So that's exactly how I am, the man that I am at this moment in time. Because the awesome, educated, strong, masculine black men that I was able to see, they helped to mold me into the man that I am at this moment in time. I also had those same men directly in my family by way of, my Uncle Tony and my Uncle Mike, who both have kids, families, you know. So, and they also, stayed with jobs. Like my Uncle Mike working for the post office for about, I want to say about like 40 years. Like he kept that job. Like he is there. He is on it, right? So, like I said before, a lot of this nonsense that a lot of these women talking out here is nothing but nonsense, because they don't know the effect that it can literally have on a child, and especially they don't know the effect that it can have on a young black man growing up. They just don't know that, because they can't peer into that mindset. They can't peer into that life, the different choices and the interactions that you're literally going to have and you're going to have to make at that moment. Am I going to get into my friend's car that I know might be potentially selling, or am I going to decide to just like, ride my bike home or walk home or take a Uber or take the bus or, what have you? Like I said, those are life decisions that every young man has to sit up there and make day in and day out. Am I going to sit up there and hang with a certain type of crowd, or am I not? Am I going to hang with these dudes who might influence me to start drinking early, or to start doing smoking early, or a variety of other things that might be negative and detrimental to not only myself but to my community and my family? Or am I going to just like stay back, watch and learn, and just take my own path from everything that I'm observing? Like I said before, having a image, a reflection of that young man out there that is positive will do so much positive work. Like it is unimaginable the effect that it will have. So like I said, this is why I say that black fathers are always unappreciated, because black fathers have always been directly under attack. They've always been scrutinized. They've always been vilified and criminalized, and anything basically negative under the sun. So the main thing that I say to people is that just because you had a negative interaction with a man, leave that negative interaction with him. Don't try to generalize that negative interaction and try to cover all men. Because what I would tell a lot of women out here is that whatever you're saying about men, you're also saying about your son. Remember that. Whatever you decide to sit up there and say about the father of that child, you're also saying about that son as well. But like I said before, the moment in time that you want to try to tell people that they should guide their energy and their words differently and be very, very careful, people don't want to listen. People want to start to deflect. People want to start to do this. People want to start to do that. In a moment in time that you start bringing up numbers, basically showcasing what can transpire in a single parent household, yet again, people want to deflect. People want to say this. People want to say that. But the other thing that doesn't get mentioned among these statistics is that you have a lot of vengeful women out here who don't or can't be with that man anymore because he selectively chose, because of various reasons of, all right, I don't want to be with you no more, but I still want to be in my kids' life. I still love my kids. I'll still be there for them. I'll still support them, but I just don't want to be with you. So because that man selectively chose that he doesn't want to be with you, or that he has basically moved on, but he is still present forever and 100% in that child's life, you have women out here that are like, you know what? I'm not going to have that. You don't want to be with me. You don't want to accept me. Then you're not getting this kid. So they'll basically use that child as some type of bargaining chip. They'll use that child as some type of item for all intents and purposes in order to get to and to hurt that man, because the woman, aka the mother, feels hurt. So because she feels hurt, she's basically going to hurt everybody in the situation. Like I said before, that's something else that doesn't get talked about. Whenever there's talks about, missing fathers, and fathers don't want to be in their children's lives, and they're always abandoning their families and all these other things. There's a multitude of reasons why two people are not compatible, why two people are not together, why two people just can't, in a sense, be in the same area parenting at the same time. This is why you have co-parenting, where, all right, you're at this house, I'm at this house, but we're still going to parent together. You'll have him 50, I'll have him 50. But like I said before, yet again, it goes to the other extent which doesn't get listed into the statistics, where you have mothers who are not actually mothers, but they're just using their kids as paychecks. And they're just taking all of that money and they're spending it on themselves, while their kids look like they just got out of a third world country. And I've seen it with my own eyes. And it's the craziest thing that I've ever seen directly in my life. Those women should directly have those kids taken directly from them. But yet again, that'll start going into a deflection where people will start saying like, oh, well, the men just should not have gotten those women pregnant. The men just shouldn't have. The men should have. The men should have. The men should have. Like I said before, anytime these conversations just so happen, there always will be a deflection, and there will always be a lack of acknowledgement, responsibility, and acceptance on a lot of women's parts, on a lot of mothers' parts, as to why it is the circumstances are the way that they are, and why it is that their child's life is playing out the way that it's playing out. But anyways, hopefully this will start some type of discussion in the comment section about this, or maybe I might just so happen to bring it up during the live stream, and you know, we can see where it goes from there. I don't know, but thanks for listening, and let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.